Hello, this is the Lord's Legion and welcome to the best villains ever, the show in which I talk about a specific villain and talk about their backstories, abilities, greatest feats, and why I love them so much. And since surprisingly I haven't done as many DC villains in this series as I would like to, and the fact that majority of them are within the Batman's Rogues Gallery, I thought why not just shake things up a little bit and focus on a different villain entirely. And when it comes down to many of the DC villains, I personally feel like Sinestro deserves more recognition and respect. Hence why I am dedicating this episode specifically for Sinestro. So without further ado, let's begin with his backstory, and bear in mind Sinestro's origin is pretty lengthy, hence why I'm going to try and condense it as best as I can. So Val Sinestro was originally an anthropologist from the planet Karuga, and he was trying to maintain order by repairing the ruins. However, an alien ship crash landed onto one of the ancient ruins that Sinestro was trying to repair. But as it turns out, the alien was in fact a Green Lantern known as Thrall Goskova, and due to its injuries, the alien decided to give Sinestro its power ring so that Sinestro can take down one of its enemies, the enemy in question being the Weapon of Quad. And once the battle was over, Goskova wanted the power ring back so that it can heal itself. Unfortunately for the helpless alien, Sinestro thought that he was more worthy of having the power ring and left the alien to die. After the death of Thrall Goskova, the Guardians selected Sinestro to become the Green Lantern for Sector 1417, unaware that Sinestro was the one who left the previous Green Lantern to die. But after many missions, Sinestro was deemed to be one of, if not the greatest Green Lantern to ever live. And even despite his sins, everyone was looking up for Sinestro, as he shared a close bond with Abin Sur, also married his best friend's sister Arin Sur, and even mentored other Green Lanterns such as Hal Jordan. But sooner or later things were about to catch up to him, because when Hal Jordan alongside Sinestro went on Karuga, which is of course Sinestro's home world, Hal Jordan learned that Sinestro was the one who ruled the entire planet with an iron fist, by abusing the power ring like the dictator that he really is. And because Sinestro was breaking the law, Hal Jordan had no choice but to take down Sinestro. After several battles with Hal Jordan, Sinestro was sent back to Aura to face his trial for all the crimes he had committed. And since Sinestro was guilty, the Guardians decided to strip him from the power ring and sent him into the antimatter universe of Quag. And while Sinestro was trapped on Quag, he convinced the Weaponers into forging a new power ring. But unlike the green power ring, this new yellow power ring is actually fueled by fear, which can counter pretty much anything a Green Lantern can dish at them. And with this newfound power, Sinestro wants his revenge on the Guardians as well as the Green Lanterns, and hopefully bring order to the universe in his own twisted ways. And when you really look back into Sinestro's origin, as twisted as his methods can really be, at the same time he does have some good intentions. Because in the end, Sinestro just wants to bring order into the universe, and he truly believes that he's doing the right thing. So in a sense, Sinestro is kind of the hero of his own story. And even though Sinestro has done some pretty messed up things over the years, in his mind Sinestro believes that what he is doing is the right thing to do, and that it's all for the greater good. Now there's no denying that Sinestro does possess a lot of powers and abilities at his disposal, which mainly stems to his power ring. And with his yellow power ring, Sinestro is capable of energy projections, energy constructs, energy absorption, flight, and can even turn invisible for a short period of time. But not only that, Sinestro is also capable of mind control, probing, mirages, meaning that Sinestro can create illusions. He can also phase through walls and can also scan electromagnetics. And to top it all off, Sinestro is also capable of ring duplication, manipulating fear. He has a pretty good healing factor. He can also create wormholes and warps, and can even time travel. Although the last two abilities may or may not have been retconned out of his power set. Now undoubtedly, Sinestro has achieved plenty of great feats over the years, and before anyone asks, I am only going to be focusing on the post-crisis Sinestro, meaning that I'm not going to be focusing on the new 52 Sinestro feats. For starters, Sinestro is capable of taking blows from Kyle Rayner and can also beat him in combat. He also casually took an arrow straight through the heart, and he can still stand up without even so much pain. Plus Sinestro is strong enough to break free from a star sapphire crystal. Plus Sinestro used his ring to propel an asteroid to Oa. and he can wipe the floor with Carol Fenris, who is considered to be one of the most powerful star sapphires. Plus Sinestro's firepower is so strong in fact that he can blast around Lobo. Not to mention that Sinestro has also been shown to one-shot Lyra, who is one of the Red Lanterns. Plus he has been shown subduing Kyle Rayner, who once again is considered to be one of the best Green Lanterns. But what's very impressive is the fact that Sinestro is capable of going toe to toe with both Carol and Hal by himself, and can even hold off a group of the Green Lantern Corps with just his constructs. Once again, Sinestro has demonstrated in that he can subdue Kyle Rayner, but in this case Kyle was in his ion form. Plus Sinestro is capable of shielding himself from multiple Thunderers, and he is so versatile with his own power ring that he is capable of creating an override, which can even harm the likes of Mongol. And while Sinestro remained focused, he was capable of extracting ion out of Kyle Rayner, which in itself is pretty insane. He also moved his consciousness to the central power battery. But the most insane has yet to come, because Sinestro became the very first White Lantern in history, becoming the center and one with every living thing in the universe. And while as the White Lantern, Sinestro is capable of blasting back Necron and scores off the Black Lanterns, as well as temporarily killing Necron by ripping his very heart out. And when Necron returned from the dead, he easily chopped off Sinestro in half. But due to Sinestro being the White Lantern, he easily came back from that, since the White Lanterns are the most powerful lanterns within the spectrum. And let's not forget that Sinestro has appeared in many other mediums as well. And to start with, Sinestro has been somewhat of a recurring villain within the DC animated universe. And even though he has appeared in that one Superman episode, the rest of his appearances after that he was mostly sidelined as a side villain, which is quite unfortunate. Because to me this version of Sinestro came across as more of a lackey who would join other supervillain teams. Plus he also appeared in one episode of Green Lantern the animated series, which is something I haven't seen, and from what I've heard I do believe that they were planting the seeds for Sinestro to become a villain for the next season before the show got cancelled. However, Sinestro was the main villain for the animated movie known as Green Lantern First Flight, which I honestly do think that they did do Sinestro justice, and he was enjoyable in pretty much every scene that he was in. Not to mention that Mark Strong did portray Sinestro in that god-awful Green Lantern movie, and to be fair, he was the only saving grace this movie had going for it. And even though the Green Lantern isn't even in the same universe as the worlds of DC, I would still hope that Mark Strong could still reprise the role of Sinestro, because he is just that good. And finally, Sinestro appeared in the Injustice universe, in which the games didn't do too much with him. However, it's the comics that really did make him shine. Because not only did the comics justify his existence within the regime, but Sinestro did redeem himself in the Injustice 2 comics and became a Green Lantern once more. But in the end, I honestly do believe that Sinestro, in a way, is an underrated DC villain. Because he isn't really as explored as, let's say, the Joker, Lex Luthor, or even Reverse Flash. Which is unfortunate, because Sinestro is the Green Lantern's arch nemesis, and in my mind Sinestro is up there as one of DC's best. Because in Sinestro's twisted mind, he is the hero of his own story, and the thing he desires most, even more so than having his revenge on the Green Lanterns, is to bring order to the universe. And he believes that the only way in succeeding is of course to spread fear across the universe, so that everyone can tremble under Sinestro's control. So because of his interest and backstory, as well as just how twisted his mind really is, not to mention how much of a badass he really is, and just the insane feats he has achieved over the years, this is why I personally believe that Sinestro is one of the best villains of all time. So are you a huge fan of Sinestro, and what are some of your personal favourite storylines featuring this Yellow Lantern? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video, please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.